Hello, everybody. My name is Rose Diamonds from Tribe in Transition, and I would like to explore with you today the meaning of this time, this midwinter, winter solstice. And I've heard that this is a time when the veils between the worlds become thin. And what does that mean? It means that we are open to other dimensions of consciousness, to more of our higher consciousness, of the cosmos, the intelligence of the cosmos and the universe, to our connection with the earth and our ancestry, our lineage, what it means to be a human being living on this earth. And we open to our connection with humanity, with our loved ones, whether they're here still living in the body or whether they've transitioned into consciousness without a body. So this is a time when there is a potential for an opening of consciousness. And as such, it's a very uh, beautiful time, but that opening of consciousness can also make us feel vulnerable, ungrounded, lost. Because when we open to a bigger, more expanded consciousness, we may lose our connection with who am I? We've had a limited identity. We've established a comfortable identity, but that identity has been limited in certain ways. We've maybe we've developed a comfort zone. We've developed a way to live in this very crazy world. We've developed our own ways to stay safe within that. That's really important. That's a really important skill to be able to find a way to stay safe no matter what's going on around us. And yet, those very ways that we have of staying safe can also limit us. So I think this is a time around about the winter solstice coming up for Christmas, so much going on. Oh, just take a minute. I just want to pause with that because this is such a difficult time for so many of us. It's potentially a time of peace and connection and being with loved ones. And yet, for so many people, it can also be a time of isolation, of feeling into their own sort of failures and limitations and maybe ill health, deaths of loved ones. I've had several major events that have happened throughout December, which have been life-shaking in this way, and I'll talk about those in a moment. And I just want to acknowledge that just as much as this can be a time of opening, deepening, finding more meaning, purpose, realizing more of our potential, it can also to be a very vulnerable time when we need to kind of gather into ourselves and be in that safe inner sanctuary space. Be tender with ourselves. Because when we connect with these wider, higher, deeper dimensions of consciousness, which become available around this time, and which also become available when we're in any kind of crisis or situation which brings us face to face with death. This is this opportunity of opening to deeper and higher dimensions is available to us. But when that happens, the heart opens. The veil, it's like the veils are ripped off the heart. And that can lead us feeling very raw, very tender, very vulnerable. I just want to honor this place in all of us, just to recognize that we are spiritual beings here on earth to have a human experience. And as spiritual beings, we are free, we are unlimited, We are open to this unlimited dimension of consciousness. As human beings, we have amazing courage and genius, creative genius, and a love, and we also live within an impermanent, finite body. We live in a physical reality that is subject to change and destruction. And we live within an emotional reality which is difficult to tame and rise above its limitations, its old patterns, its cycling of old patterns. And we also live with a mental reality which can run circles around us with lots of messages to distract us and try and keep us safe. All of this keeping safe is, as I said, it's a very good thing. It's a skill. I'm not saying we shouldn't be making ourselves feel safe, but there are ways that we can make ourselves feel safe which are aligned with our wholeness and our well-being. And there are other ways of making ourselves feel safe which limit us. And I am here. My job in Tribe in Transition is to support and encourage those people who are attracted to choose more of this alignment with our wholeness and our well-being, to find the sanctuary, the inner peace within, the freedom within, within all this chaos that's going on in our world at the moment, all this uncertainty. So I wanted to connect with you today just to say, yeah, we are fragile, vulnerable human beings living in a very unpredictable time in human history. And we are also beings who have a role to play in this transition. We can make choices, conscious choices, to align with our higher values, our spiritual values. And this is a really good time to make those choices, to set those intentions. When the veils part and we can see more clearly, we can be more in touch with our inner guidance, our inner wisdom. We're more tender in the heart, more open. This is the most fertile time to be setting intentions, to align with what is most whole in us, to step into our fuller potential, our full potential. And that means, for me anyway, constantly making changes, looking at those things in my life which aren't working, which are bringing my energy down. And I'm going to be making some changes in the new year for sure. And I think for many of us in the last few years since lockdown, there's been a kind of pull inwards. And I'm starting to feel in myself and to hear what I'm hearing coming from outside of myself. There's a shift, there's a turning happening. We've been through a dark night of the soul collectively for the last few years, since 2020, 4 years of dark night of the soul. Time, maybe a time of grieving, of sitting with death, of feeling stuck, unable to move forward in the way that we would like to. And I'm just beginning to feel that that tide is maybe turning right now, and that there is going to be more freedom to move forward, to expand, to blossom. For my experience of events which have been very difficult, like the death of my mother. It happened in December 2001. And in December 2011, my friend Maggie and I were involved in a flood and landslide which damaged our house and made us homeless. That was very life-shaking. And in December 2015, my dear friend Woods died. That's 9 years ago today. So all of these three events have been really shook the foundations of my being, my awareness, my my reality of who I am. It was shaken. I was shaken to the core by all three of these events. And yet each one, death of my mother, being made homeless by the flood, death of my closest friends, they also brought me incredible riches and insights and choices and freedoms. And I won't go into those today because those are big stories. But what I wanted to say to you today was just to connect with you in this place of possibility, expansion, choice, choice for wholeness, connecting more with spirits, our spiritual being, stepping more into the expansiveness of our spiritual beings. And I also want to connect with you in this place of being a limited human being who feels loss, who wants to withdraw from impermanence, wants to shut my mind to death, who feels at times inadequate, that I failed, that everything is futile. I think all of that goes along with this time of year as well, this kind of deepening into soul, the time of reckoning, of looking at our lives and saying, well, am I really living the way that I choose to live? Can I do, can I do more? Can I be more? So I'm encouraging you, as I'm doing for myself right now, to hold both of these parts of our being, the free, loving, infinitely intelligent spiritual part of us, our spiritual being, our connection with cosmos, and our imperfect humanness. Both, this is, we're both of these. We're spiritual beings here on earth to have a human experience. And that's a wonderful thing. That's a wonderful, wonderful privilege that we have. So I wish you a peaceful solstice and Christmas, New Year. I hope you will find times of peace, connection, love, abundance, giftedness. And if times are difficult for you, if you're going through a rocky time, get your feet firmly on the ground, connect with the earth, breathe, and set your intention to align with what is whole in you. Remember that you also have this much more expanded being, even when you're feeling very contracted. and that's painful to be contracted. So remember that it's just by breathing, giving your body some space, you can ease your pain. You can bring fresh life, fresh air, fresh energy into a system which also carries a lot of history, the old which needs to be released. Thank you for listening.